Folks, Bob McCarthy here with one of the greatest legends in the pro wrestling history. He's here with us today, Leapin' Lanny Poffo. Leapin', you're here with all the legends. How was it like being at the Legends of the Ring?
Oh, it's a very big thrill for me to come back, and I've had a lot of excellent condolences from all the fans, about my father and my brother that have passed away. And I prefer to be called the genius full of glory and renown because I don't like being a jabroni. I like being on top. And thanks to Hulk Hogan, he gave me one brief shining moment of 4 months with the Hulkster, and back in the day, you couldn't get any better than that.
Incredible match.
Well, and you know what I think? I have selective amnesia. I only want to remember those moments, not the others.
How was it like? And you guys destroyed the World Heavyweight Championship after the match, you and Mr. Perfect. How was that with your alliance with Mr. Perfect?
Well, he was doing I was doing the laughing and convorting and the happiness, and he was just banging on the belt. And one of the pieces of metal flew up and cut him. And I was glad we did it in one take because he was bleeding all over the place because of the metal had a little recoil. But it was a lot of fun. He was hitting it so hard, I could hardly hear myself think. And, I wasn't really used to speaking extemporaneously. Then I was doing all poetry. And this time I was and I remember saying, Thomas Jefferson, I hope you're rolling in your grave because this is what's happened to freedom of speech.
And you have a couple of books that came out about your poems. Can you tell the fans about that?
Well, this is Leaping Lanny, Wrestling with Rhyme. And the other one I wrote was I was the winner of the Jarsenbeck Award of 2004 for Excellence in Children's Literature, Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. And it's just poetry about smoking. A limerick is 5 lines of fun. You can finish before you've begun. Like when you choose to smoke, you can rhyme it with croak and die in a lyrical pun. I've always refused to comply with smokers who want me to try my first cigarette, which I haven't had yet. I just tell them, no thank you, goodbye. And 3 monkeys with nothing to do decided to go to the zoo. As they lit up to smoke, I heard one monkey joke, hey look, human see, human do. So what it is, see, you got this, somebody gave me a cigarette. You know what? I haven't had my first one yet, and I'm not going to start now, but thank you for the visual. That's 3 limericks. There's 335 in my book. Go on geniuslannypoffo.com, order it there. I'll autograph it any way you want. People say, well, $15 is a lot of money for a book. Do you know how much smoking costs? If you can take your children from an early age and, give them that lesson. But anyway, let's talk something more positive.
Absolutely. So many families have been in the Hall of Fame. The Von Erichs, the Armstrongs, and the Poffos deserve to be in there. Angelo Poffo, yourself, and your brother, the late, great Macho Man Randy Savage. Devastating this year, losing your brother. So many people were felt by that. So many people influenced by the Macho Man. And I want to get your thoughts on that so all the fans out there can hear of how he lived his last years. I mean, he didn't do any wrestling shows. Why did he did TNA in, I think, 2008 and 2009, but why did he kind of not do any conventions or anything? Like, why did he stay out of the spotlight?
He had already done it all, seen it all. He'd been to the top of the mountain, and all he wanted now was the home life that he was missing all those years. And but I tell you what, he couldn't have been a better son or a better brother to me or a better husband to his new wife, Lynn. And he came to me 1 year and 10 days before, and he said, here's the deal. I want you to write a poem, but don't make it long and boring, because you can be long and boring. And I did a poem for his wedding, which was on the beach in Sarasota. It's called Lido Beach. It's where they met 37 years before they got married. And here it is. We are back at the beach where they met long ago in honor of Randy and Lynn, a beautiful couple that loved and lost, but now they decided to win. Nice 10, was my brother's smooth opening line. What was Lynn's thoughtful reply? Surviving the time and the distance between is the knot they've come back here to tie. So here's to the union of Randy and Lynn, a couple I greatly admire. May the years bring you health, satisfaction, and happiness more than you'll ever require. And they only made it 1 year and 10 days from there, but they had a beautiful, happy marriage. And I love Lynn, and I'll do anything I can as her brother-in-law. And, she's ailing now, and she's heartbroken and devastated as you are. And, all the fans, some of them have met Randy, lucky enough to have met him. Some of them have not. But everybody had some wonderful memories to share.
One of the questions I want to know, back in the 80s, they never told anybody that you guys are brothers. You guys had ICW with your father and Lanny Poffo, but in WWE, they never said that you guys were brothers. And why did that Vince do that?
I have no idea why, but it worked out better for Randy. It worked out well for me. The only time we were together in the ring, can you name the time?
The coronation of the king.
Would you like that poem?
Yes, please tell us.
Okay. Behold this humble entourage. Their heads are bowed in reverence at the very slightest whisper of one name, exalting in his splendor, which is altogether fitting of the people and the lands from whence he came. False monarchies are commonplace, his kingdoms rise and fall, but I, the genius full of glory and renown, say the Macho Man is everything that everybody everywhere would ever want to wear a crown. I say this king deserves a queen beside him on the throne, and Sherry is the fairest in the land. Nobody else is worthy of this monumental honor and the regal splendor of his royal hand. We witnessed the dethroning of one Jim the Hacksaw Duggan, whose crown and robe are in a state of ravage. I now remove my mortarboard and place it near my heart, and thus proclaim you Macho King Randy Savage. And go on GeniusLannyPoffo.com. You'll see a tribute I made to my brother, and you'll see something else. I knew that if I had a scroll in one hand and I was going to remove my mortarboard, what hand would I hold the microphone with? So I looked around and I said, who can I trust out of this sorry crew? And I said, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. He'd never let me down. So if you watch, he sticks his hand through my armpit and he holds the microphone up, and we actually practiced it because he's a perfectionist. And I'd like to say that I was on my way to California when I heard the news on May 20th that my brother had passed, and of course I was devastated emotionally. I called my mother, I called my daughter, and the third person I called was Jimmy Hart to tell him what happened and to tell him to call the promoters and say I wasn't going to be there and straighten it out for me and we square it up. And I'd like to say that Jimmy Hart, thank you for everything, and you're a friend of the family. And now that I don't have a family except for my mother and my daughter, it's very important to me that Jimmy Hart's still on my team.
I want to thank you so much for talking about Randy and your career. It is an honor, Lanny. The genius, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, one of the legends here at Legends of the Ring, the genius, Lanny Poffo.